Hi, I'm Arlene Mitchell with the Global Child Nutrition Foundation. Sorry I can't be with you today, but I'm going to record this and hope that it's valuable to you. Pulling up my presentation. Here we go. Oops. So many of you will know GCNF, Global Child Nutrition Foundation, from our annual forum, the biggest annual meeting in the world of stakeholders of school meal programs. We're also known for our global survey of school meal programs, and I'm going to talk about that today, particularly as it might be relevant to your proposal writing for McGovern Dole or other funding opportunities. So the global survey is a standard set of questions using standard definitions asked of all countries in the world for whom we can find contact about large-scale school feeding programs. We conduct the survey every 2 to 3 years, and we began in 2019. So there are many objectives for the survey, but it's basically for all stakeholders to have access to better information so that they can make better decisions. Everyone from a donor or an implementing government or an implementing partner, academics, and more. The first survey that we conducted was in 2019, but we gathered data from the previous school year, which was in most cases 2017, 2018 school year. The second survey focused on the first full year affected and most affected by the COVID pandemic, so the 2020 school year. The survey covers national and program-specific questions. It's responded to by government-appointed focal points, which in most cases are government officials, but occasionally governments will appoint an academic or someone familiar with their programs to respond on their behalf. USDA, the McGovern Dole program, has generously supported the survey, and they are keen supporters, and we're grateful for that. Our third survey is scheduled for next year, and will cover 2023 school year. So far, 155 countries have responded to the survey. Many of them both surveys, but some just 2019 or just 2021. The survey contents have been, the core contents have remained the same between the 2019 and 2021 surveys, but we did make some updates, particularly to capture the impact of COVID-19. We added some questions, a question about beverages and about links to food banks. But basically, the core questions remain the same from year to year so that we can capture trends. The first section of the survey is mostly national level information that includes things like policies and standards affecting the programs. The second set of sections is all focused on programs. So if there's more than one program, you fill out the survey for each of the programs, and it gets much more into the details of the program, including the foods used, complementary activities, where the food is sourced, how governance and leadership works in the program, funding and budgeting, links to agriculture, links to private sector, community participation, etc. And the last three sections deal with emergencies, the education system and infrastructure, and successes and challenges. And to guide all of this, we have a glossary of terms so that we hope we can have consistent understanding and responses to the questions. The key products from this survey are, first of all, we have 2 global reports, one from each of the surveys, and the 2021 survey also has an executive summary with a few highlights. The full reports and the summaries are available on our website, www.gcnf.org. But if you want access to the full database, you can write us at info@gcnf.org. The information is available. Other products are social media tools and infographics. These are a couple of examples of geographic infographics. But we also have summaries like this on topics such as health and nutrition or links to agriculture. The products also include country-by-country summaries for any country that says they have at least one large-scale school meal program. This example is from Lesotho. First page of the surveys, the country reports are all alike regardless of the country in terms of the layout, so you can easily compare. The first page it covers mostly national level statistics and information. The second page covers nutrition, agriculture, community participation, and gender types of questions, as well as a summary of the successes and challenges the country faces. And we also summarize the impact of emergencies and COVID-19 pandemic. The third page of most country reports has at least one program description, a summary of the program in country. Lesotho's case, there are 2 programs operating in the country, so there are 2 summaries. And if a country has more than 2, then we add another page and include those summaries as well. So I tried to think about how the survey data might be useful for proposal writing. And I think basically it might just trigger some valuable insights into things that you might not be thinking about, or you might want to give some more thought to in considering how you would approach a program. Whether you're in the country already, I think you know it, or you would be starting new in a country that you don't currently operate in. So first stop is the country report for that country. I put some arrows here with where there might be some information relevant to thinking about your proposal. One is on the top left arrow, you see what programs are already operating in the country. And just below that, what national laws, policies, and standards apply. The next column, second from the left, the arrow indicates that there are some prohibited food items in this country, which is Togo, including some imported products. So you might want to dig deeper to know about that. Then there's information about the currently operating programs that you would want to know a bit about if you were designing something to apply in Togo. We always want you to think about meal quality and nutrition opportunities. Here are some survey topics that directly link to those topics. So you might want to scan those sections of the survey results for the country or overall around the world to know what kinds of things can factor into meal quality and nutrition opportunities you might not have thought of. Also might want to think about infrastructure. Particularly low-income and lower middle-income countries have infrastructure challenges that could affect your program and your program design. We'd like you to think about women. And one of the dicey things about women in school meal programs that we would like you to think about is that while most cooks in these programs are women, way too many of them are serving as volunteers. They're unpaid labor. And we think this is an issue that deserves more attention. So even if you need to start with volunteer cooks, is there a way to compensate them in kind? Is there a way to build their credentials, help them to find other work, etc., so that it isn't just free labor for your school meal program? In that same context, you could think about what training you offer. For example, almost no programs offer their cooks business management training, which may be very relevant, particularly if you're helping them to find income opportunities beyond your program. But also issues around portions measurements, menu planning, etc. Less than 50% of the programs are saying that they train in the women in those areas. Think about the diversity of the food basket. Low-income countries, as a rule, have far less diversity in their food baskets, which of course affects nutrition. These categories of foods are what we look at in the survey, and you can see that we kind of lump together legumes, pulses, and nuts, so it's a little hard to talk specifically about peanuts in this case. But we do note that most programs reliant on in-kind donations do check this box because of the large use of corn soy blend or corn soy blend plus in school meal programs. On the bottom right, you'll see that what we ask now about beverages. So we're particularly interested in whether the beverages used in the program are sweetened or not. So as I wrap up, I want to do a final pitch for you to think about legumes. Peanuts are legumes, but they're not the only ones. Legumes are very, very nutritious. They also have antioxidants and phytochemicals. They are very commonly used in traditional cuisines, which makes them acceptable in local diets. And they can contribute to overall diet quality, particularly if you add beans and reduce things like sugar. Diet quality is clearly associated with decreased risk of chronic disease. So in sum, most studies and trials suggest that replacing meat with legumes, and I know that meat is not often used in school meal programs with using donated commodities, but making sure that legumes are included in the menu several times a week can have a very positive effect on lifespan, blood sugar control, cardiovascular disease risk, and possibly even weight control. And obesity is a growing problem everywhere, including in some low-income countries. And finally, I want to put in an agricultural pitch for legumes because they play a very critical role in natural ecosystems, agriculture, and agroforestry. And I will also add that in many countries, legumes are produced primarily by female farmers. It's not true everywhere, but it's true in enough places that you may get a gender boost out of using legumes as well. So I want to thank you for listening and wish you the best of luck with your proposals, and hope to see you at our next forum. Thanks.